Sorry, guys. Having some technical difficulties here. Anybody, while our video is thinking here, anybody have any ideas on what we could do to find the missing side? Because we'll need that in this example. If we have 2 out of 3 sides. Pythagorean theorem. All right, so picking up where we left off, going to kind of example 2, says find the values of the 6 trig functions for theta. So yeah, we have an extra step on these because they only give us 2 out of 3 sides. And remember, anytime, before trig, anytime you have 2 out of 3 sides, you could use the Pythagorean theorem. So like to find our missing side here, we could say we're missing a leg here, so we could say a squared equals 26 squared minus 24 squared. And that ends up being the value of that is, let's see, I have it over here, 100. So we get a squared equals 100, and so a equals 10, okay? So once we have that, then we can just easily fill in the 6 trig functions. So we'll just go through this one together, and you can see the rest on the filled out notes. This really isn't the main thing for this lesson. So sine, cosine, tangent. All right, can anybody give me sine yet? It can be unreduced. What would sine be? (24 over 26). Very good. Okay, and that reduces to 12 over 13. All right, so what would cosine be? Here's theta. That might be why you all. So cosine would be 10 over 26. Or 5 over 13. And then finally tangent. What's that going to be? 24 over 10. Very good. The more of these you do, the better you get. All right, so then it says the 6 trig functions. These are 3, right? And then just to get the next column, we just get their reciprocal, right? The inverse of sine, you probably don't remember what that's called. Anybody remember what the official word for the inverse of sine is? Secant. Is it cosecant or secant? I always get confused on those two. I think it's secant, and then the next one's cosecant, right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you guys are right. So yeah, this would be called cosecant. I like this notation right here because it just says the inverse of sine. But anyways, we just flip 13 over 12, and then secant, or the inverse of cosine, would be 13 over 5. And then finally, the easiest one to remember is called cotangent. So that would be 5 over 12. No, it is 24 over 26. Because this is theta up here, and we do opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? I wrote over it, so that might have been why you were confused there. Yes.
You've had sine 2 times instead of sine once and cosine the other time.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yes. So yeah, this guy right here shouldn't be the inverse of sine. That should be the inverse of cosine. Thank you, Andrew. All right, so let's go ahead, and the main thing I want to do, so we'll, 5 and 6 are worked out. They'll be worked out on your filled out notes that you can look at later if they're not up yet, but I'll add those later. But the main thing I want to get through is kind of look at what we can with the time we have left remaining on 7 through 10. This would be the new idea of the day. We haven't really talked about anything new yet, but those ratios are important for what we're going to do, so we needed to review, okay? So it says, use trig ratios to find the value of the variables to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so this is kind of similar to the problems we looked at yesterday, except for the given angle is 54. It's not 60, it's not 30, it's not 45. So we can't use any of those proportions we used yesterday, right? So if you get one like this, that's not a special right triangle, then you have to use your calculator, okay? So if you have that with you, the first thing I want you to do before we start is go to mode. All right, so mode, and then I already did this first period, but if you go down 3 or 2, I guess, yours is going to be on radian right there. You want to take it over to degree. So hit over, put it on degree, and then you want degree highlighted like I have it. Okay. So if not, your calculator will say something different than mine says. So put it on degree, and then I'm going to go back out to my home screen. So after that, we'll just get started. Okay. All right, so here is kind of what we do. All right, watch me do a couple, then I'll have you guys maybe try a couple to finish out class. Okay. All right, so think about what we're given in order to find x. Okay, we're definitely not given 2 of the 3 sides, so we have to use some trig, not the Pythagorean theorem, right? We are given, so we're given this 54-degree angle, we're given this side, and we're given this side. Or sorry, we're asked to find the one leg, and we're given the other leg. So in relation to the given angle, you think about which sides we're dealing with. Okay, so in relation to the given angle, x is the opposite side, and 5 is the adjacent side. Okay, so once you do that, then you kind of think about, okay, which one of my 3 trig functions uses opposite and adjacent? Yes? Tan. Very good. All right. So once you identify that, we say tan of 54 equals, and then we just, we set up the fraction. So tan is opposite over adjacent. So in this case, that'd be x over 5. Okay, and then you just think about solving for x. So we're going to multiply both sides by 5. So we have 5 times tan of 54. And once you get here, that is where we use our calculator. Okay, so now we just type it just like it looks. Okay, so 5, then tan is just to the left of the caret key. So 5 tan, and then 5 4 should give you 6.88 about. So about 6.88. Now, before we move on, did anybody type in 5 tan 54 and get a completely different number? Okay, so that can happen if you didn't change it to degrees. Okay, so that would be you need to change to degrees. Okay, all right, let's do another one. So on 9, we're asked to find x and y. Okay, so we just go. It's just 2 problems instead of 1. Okay, so we'll find x first. So focusing on x here. We know we're given this angle is 33. In relation to that angle, x would be the what side? O or A? O. All right, and then 15 is what? H. Hypotenuse is always the easiest one to find. It's opposite the right angle, okay? All right, so now we know we have O and H. So as far as a trig ratio, what do we want to use? Sine, good. So sine 33 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so x over 15. So now we know what we need to type is 15 times sine of 33. And again, we can't do that without our calculator. That's going to be some irrational number. So 15 sine 33 looks like about, we're going to round up to 8.17. We'll switch back to radians actually before we're done with the trig stuff. So let's not worry about that just today, but we'll deal with radians kind of in the future here. Okay. All right. So then we have to find y as well. All right. So given angle is still 33. Y would be the adjacent side to 33. And then I would say, I would be careful about using the 8.17 just because that's already rounded. My preference would be to use the non-rounded side, which would be the hypotenuse, if that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to use cosine of 33 here to start my equation, and that would be y over 15. So now I can see I need to type 15 cosine 33. So it looks like about 12.58. All right, so now that you have seen a couple of these, I want you to try for a few minutes to do what you can on 8 and 10. On your notes, the 8 is blank, so you'll have to write in this stuff. I just had to make one up. So we'll say this angle up here is 60. The short leg is 4, and the hypotenuse is x. The other one's marked where you have to find x and y. So 3 minutes. Not going to be enough time to do all 3, but do what you can, okay? Do what you can, and we'll talk about them, at least the answers, before we go. And if you need to partner up with somebody, you should do that. You should do that. All right, so just to kind of round out our video here, I'll start kind of working these out on the board. And again, this is kind of our big new example for the day. So all right, so what I did on 8 was I used cosine of 60. Sorry, cosine of 60 equal to, and this gets a little bit tricky because it goes 4 over x. So remember, if you basically just, I'll give you a quick shortcut. Instead of 4 times cosine of 60 there, you just end up with x equals 4 divided by cosine of 60. So if you figured that out, good job. That ends up being, anybody got it? Anybody know what it is? 8. Very good. Any thoughts on why that's a nice clean number, not an irrational number? What about the triangle might have been a clue? It's a 30, 60, 90, right? So that was one from yesterday, actually, okay? But you see, you can still use your calculator on those, right? And then your answers for the other two, and I would encourage you to do these for homework if you didn't get them done or you got them wrong, would be X is 12.62 and Y is 18.02. Okay, and again, let that be your homework. You know, just if you didn't get done with either one of those, look at them, kind of learn them. There are some fun word problems on the back where, you know, you can look at some examples I did. You can try them, see what you can do, but you don't have any official homework, okay? You guys have a wonderful day besides that.